Hi, I'm Becca, and this is my husband, Gabe.
That's me.
Welcome to the podcast celebrating Jack Russell Terrier dogs.
And all the joys of companionship with canines of every kind.
Each week, we'll explore all the heartfelt, humbling, and hilarious stories that only dog parents can truly relate to. We're Jack Russell parents.
Dooba-doo-wah, dooba-doo-wah-wah, dooba-doo-wah, dooba-doo-wah-wah. Hey baby, I hear the blues are calling, tossed salad and scrambled eggs. And maybe I seem a bit confused. Yeah baby, I got you pegged. But I don't know what to do with those tossed salads and scrambled eggs. They're calling again. Scrambled eggs all over my face.
Hi, guys. Hope you are all doing great this week.
Happy belated National Pet Parents Day, everybody.
Yes, and these pet parents just want to be cozy on this rainy, overcast day in Texas. All this rain and overcast just makes me want to curl up on the couch and read or watch something fun.
Except we can't curl up on the couch with, say, a blanket because Carson will steal it.
Yes, I don't know why he does that.
What does he have against us being cozy on rainy days? Like, he'll take that blanket, he'll rip it right off your body, and he'll play with it, or he'll leave it on the ground in front of you, come back to the couch, and just stare at it on the ground.
Anything fuzzy, he will not let me have a blanket on.
Even some of your really fuzzy pajamas, he's like, you can
Mine.
see he's like licking his drooly fangs saying, I'm going to eat that.
Yeah, when you bring home something new for me that's fuzzy, or I bring home something, I have to go through this ritual of telling him, this is a no touch, like before I put it on my body, because he might want it even after it's on.
Anything, remotely fuzzy is a toy. So,
Well, without a blanket, of course, we have been binge watching a show, Frasier.
old school.
Old school. I love it. It's so hilarious to me. I love their snootiness, frankly. I just love these characters. They're so pompous. Anyway, we started watching this show or rewatching this show just as we were launching our podcast, which I thought was perfectly timed because on the show, there is an adorable Jack Russell named Eddie. And Frasier, well, he's a psychiatrist, but he does a radio show. So he's a radio host. And it's much like creating a podcast.
Never say that to a radio person, but it's very similar.
Yeah. Other than, we get to edit. Thank goodness. We get to edit as opposed to it being live. So I'm grateful for that fact.
So for today's Celebrity JRT segment, a segment we're going to be doing from time to time, we're going to, of course, talk about Moose, a.k.a. Eddie from the TV show Frasier. Eddie Crane, he is a full-fledged member of the Crane family, and he was on the show, or his son also was on the show, the entire run.
Yeah, so of course he is a Jack Russell Terrier. He is wire-haired. And Moose was born on Christmas Eve in Florida. He was the youngest littermate. However, even though he was the youngest, he was the largest puppy in the litter. And he was quite rambunctious, which I can fully relate to. Carson's very similar. But he was too much for the original owner. And according to this article by Lori Golden, chasing cats was one of the activities that led to this troubled terrier becoming one of TV's most precious pooches. So the family in Florida could not handle him. He was just chewing everything. He dug, he barked a lot, and he was constantly escaping and even climbing up trees. He had that much energy, right? So I know in the past we've talked about how dogs need something to do. Well, clearly this guy was bored.
Bored out of his mind. Literally climbing the walls.
Yes, he was doing everything he can think of. And this poor family, they didn't know what to do with him. So they surrendered him to a place called Birds and Animals Unlimited, and that is a company that trains animals for TV and motion pictures. And he was actually put on a plane at 2.5 years old and sent to the trainer.
2.5 years old is young for any dog, but especially a Jack Russell. They're very, very much a puppy at 2.5 years old. They don't really mature until 7, 8 years old.
Absolutely. And so this next fact is what blows my mind. After 6 months of living in LA, he won the role on Frasier. After only 6 months of training. My God, what are we doing wrong? Because Carson is 6 and he would not sit still in front of an audience, in front of cameramen and all that stuff like this dog does. So it's pretty amazing. So one of the sight gags that is really quite hysterical in the show is that Moose has the ability to just hold a long stare at someone. And so he stares at Frasier, the main character, and Frasier can't stand it. Like, it just unnerves him. He's like, why are you looking at me? And at one point in one episode, he's like, Dad, Eddie's staring at me.
The episode we just saw this morning, he was trying to eat his breakfast, and then Eddie just kept staring at him until he gave him his whole muffin or whatever it was he was eating.
Yes. And so some interesting facts, though, that when Moose had to stare at his co-stars like that, sardine oil was applied upon the actors' faces. That blew my mind.
Why does it have to be on their face?
Well, because he's going to look at wherever the oil is, wherever he's smelling it. Yeah, I don't know how I would feel about that as an actor, but I guess if that's what works. And then what has also been revealed is that actually liver pate was dabbed behind the actors' ears to make Moose nuzzle them.
I thought it was just because he loved them and spent so much time and they were his family. No, they just had liver pate.
It just takes bribery, I guess. I mean, that's unbelievable.
We should understand that as Jack Russell parents. Love is not as much a motivating factor as animal organs.
Lots of liver involved, yes. So one of my favorite tricks on the show is him staring, and it's just so funny. But Gabe, what are some of your other favorite Eddie moments?
Oh man, there's so many. Well, there was one episode where Eddie was wearing the cone of shame, right? And then that was a whole bit during the show. But at the very end, where Frasier's singing his song, they had Eddie sitting on the TV and they were just sliding him back and forth, like trying to improve the reception because of the cone on his head. And of course, Eddie, being the well-trained dog he is, he's just sitting there like a statue and they're just sliding his furry butt across the top of the TV back and forth. It was really funny. Oh, and, they're so obsessed with coffee more than we are. I mean, they're actual real coffee people. Mm-hmm. We're just connoisseurs. We're like Starbucks snobs, so we're not not really there. But yeah, they're so particular about the amount of foam and the dusting of stuff on top. And then one of the episodes, Eddie puts his face in and he gobbles up a bunch of it. And then
I think it was Niles.
Niles, yeah. Niles just sips it and then makes this really funny face like, oh, it was so delicious, and he doesn't realize he's drinking dog slobber.
Yeah, that's the best. I also love on this show when Eddie buries his head under the pillows. Like whenever there's an argument or something he doesn't like or loud noises, he just dives into the pillows of the couch.
Or somebody's like says like a dumb joke or embarrasses themselves. He's like, dang, I don't even want to be looking
Yeah, he's
right
like,
now.
I'm out. I'm going to bury my head. And I also love how the dad character loves to dress up the dog for holidays, for Christmas, Halloween costumes, and there always involves some hat of some sort. And it's really, really cute. And there's always this running joke about how he must be made fun of at the dog park by the other dogs because he always looks so ridiculous.
I don't know if we could ever dress up Carson in anything, except one thing that he'll let us put on him is a vest when it's cold. But I mean, the first time we tried to put it on him, he got really stiff, like he didn't like his personal space interrupted unless he wants to sit on you while you're sleeping.
Yeah.
So we're coming at him with this little jacket, and it was like defusing a bomb, getting this vest on him. But once he got outside, I swear he looked up at me and was like, hey, this thing is great.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you. And then the rest of that winter, we had no trouble getting the jacket on. And one, because he wanted to go outside. And two, he knew it was going to be comfortable once he got outside in the cold.
Yeah. So dressing up your dogs is an absolute blast. But there is no need to get all dressed up for this break. Just listen as you are. Aloha Mama Apparel wants to spread the spirit of aloha. Genesis Belote, the creator of Aloha Mama Apparel, was born on the mainland and resides in Southern California. But she cherishes her Hawaiian culture and honors the half of her family that lives on the islands. She loves being a mama and a designer. At Aloha Mama, they know being a mama is hard work, but it's the best work. That's why they style mamas and kiddos in apparel that is bright and filled with beachy vibes. For the cutest casual attire celebrating the spirit of aloha, go to shopalohamama.com. That's shop, ALOHAMAMA.com. Shopalohamama.com. Welcome back. We are talking about the celebrity JRT, Moose, who played Eddie on Frasier for 7 years. The show aired for 11 years, and the last 4 years were played by his son, Enzo. So Enzo was one of a few puppies that were bred specifically as possible replacements for Moose. So because it was clear that the Frasier show was such a big hit and it was going to have a long run, they thought forward and they're like, we might need a new dog to replace Moose as he gets older. And so Enzo was one of those pups that replaced him in the last 4 years of the show. Other things about Moose is he had numerous television appearances and several magazine covers to his credit. There is an official Moose calendar and an autobiography, My Life as a Dog.
It's an autobiography. He wrote it.
He wrote it. You can still get it today on Amazon. It looks super cute.
Other appearances by Moose include print advertisements for Coach. Wow, very snazzy.
Fancy doggy.
Even rolled gold pretzel TV commercials. Wow, from one end of the spectrum to the other. He's done it all. And then, of course, he also played Skip in My Dog Skip, a very famous Jack Russell-centric movie that, you know, all the Jack Russell fans know about. We'll talk about in a future episode. And he played the older Skip in the later scenes.
Yes. And Moose spent his last 6.5 years of life in retirement in West Los Angeles. How nice. He spent that time with his son, Enzo, and their trainer. And he died of natural causes at the age of 15. So he lived a happy life.
Happy full life. A little young to pass from as a Jack Russell, unfortunately. But that's still long for a dog, 15 years.
Yeah. And I'd also read somewhere else that the trainer that got him his first work, his first job, was also his mama. So for our final segment, we have furry factoids about Moose and the show Frasier. Number one being there was a special area backstage for a kennel where Moose rested, and later that space actually became a trailer. So those pups had their own trailer.
Oh, man. Imagine being an extra on that set and you see the dog has his own trailer and you're sitting on a chair
Just
in the
an
snow.
extra.
Snow. It's California. Never. But it can get cold. Second furry factoid, Moose worked for 4 days a week, getting a special bath and a spray of holiday cologne for dogs on film days because people are always trying to come up and pet him and kiss him. So he had to, represent
That's right.
Hollywood royalty.
Smell good. Furry factoid number 3, the trainer said that Moose and Enzo did not get along. This really surprised me. So it's dad and son. They didn't like each other. They had to do everything separate, including take walks.
Wow. 2 alphas on set.
Yes. That was the other thing is when they were on set, which sometimes they were together, they couldn't see one another. Like, it's almost like they would get jealous.
Such divas, man. Divas. All right. And then the last furry factoid, Moose, the original Eddie, completed 192 episodes. That is a lot.
Yeah. It's a good career. He had an awesome career. So to wrap it up, Moose was a brilliant television celebrity, but to us all, Jack Russell sparkled on screen and off.
Let me see if I understand you. The problem I see is that maybe I'm on the misconstrued, but babe, I'll never pull.
Special thanks to the talented Keith Powell for lending us his excellent a cappella cover of the Frasier theme song, Tossed Salads and Scrambled Eggs. You can find the full version of his rendition on his YouTube channel and on our blog. Links are in the show notes and on JackRussellParents.com.
What do you do with tossed salads and scrambled eggs? A world full of circles and those square pegs. The blues is always calling tossed salads and scrambled eggs. They're making me yah-yah. Tossed salads and scrambled eggs.
Thank you for listening. Until next time, this is Becca and Gabe, the Jack Russell Parents.
Say bye, Carson.
We'd love to connect with you online at jackrussellparents.com or on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at JRT Podcasts. That's at JRT for Jack Russell Terrier Podcast.
The Jack Russell Parents Podcast is produced by Earball Audio.
Jack Russell Parents is brought to you in part by Super Chewer. From the makers of BarkBox, Super Chewer is a themed monthly delivery of toys and treats made especially for dogs who play harder and demand a challenge. Simply go to jackrussellparents.com and click the Super Chewer link to enjoy their great offers while also supporting our podcast.